video, we will understand our first lesson in this unit. This is a poem. And what is the title of the poem, my student? One word. What is the meaning of word? Word alam. Before, we have to listen to the poem carefully, and then we will understand it.
We are one world. One world. Pierre lives in Canada. Marla lives in Spain. But both like to ride their bikes along the shady lane. Liv lives in Norway. Ramon is in Peru. But both laugh with the giraffe when visiting the zoo. Anwar is Egyptian. Kim is Japanese. But both run beneath the sun and fly kites in the breeze. Jack is from the US. Corintha is from Chad. But both can write a poem at night upon a writing pad. Children live all over. The world's a giant ball. But far and near, it's very clear we're one world after all.
Students, what is the title of the poem? What is the title of the poem? One word. Okay. Who write this poem? Excellent. Mish Guldish. The person who writes a poem, we call him poet. So, Mish Guldish is a poet, and this is a poem. I will read each stanza and explain the meaning. So the poem, one word, focus on the similarities and differences between children who come from different countries. Let's start with number 1. Pierre lives in Canada. Marla lives in Spain, but both like to ride their bikes along the shady lane. Where does Pierre live? Pierre lives in Canada. Where does Marla live? In Spain. So Pierre and Marla live in different countries, but both like to ride their bikes along the shady lane. Lane, narrow road. The meaning of lane is narrow road. So, what is the differences between Pierre and Marla in the first stanza? Yes, Pierre lives in Canada and Marla lives in Spain. Good. What is the similarity? Both, excellent. Pierre and Marla both like to ride their bikes along the shady lane. Let's talk about number 2. Liv lives in Norway. Ramon is in Peru. But both laugh with the giraffe when visiting the zoo. So, where does Liv live? Yes, Liv lives in Norway. What about Ramon? Ramon lives in Peru. So, Liv and Ramon live in different countries. What about the similarity between Liv and Ramon? Both laugh with the giraffe when visiting the zoo. Let's go to number 3. Anwar is Egyptian. Kim is Japanese. Both run beneath the sun and fly kites in the breeze. So this stanza is talking about Anwar and Kim. Anwar is Egyptian, he comes from Egypt, and Kim is Japanese, he comes from Japan. Although they are coming from different countries, they both run beneath the sun and fly kites in the breeze. Beneath, the meaning of beneath is under. Beneath, under. Praise Nasim. Praise Nasim. So both Anwar and Came run beneath the sun and fly kites in the breeze. This stanza is talking about Jack and Carintha. Jack is from the US. Carintha is from Chad. But both can write a poem at night upon a writing pad. So, where does Jack come from? He comes from US. Where does Carintha come from? Comes from Chad, and Chad is a country in Africa. Although they come from different countries, both can write a poem at night upon a writing pad. The last stanza: children live all over the world's giant pole, but far and near, it's very clear we are one word after all. Meaning of the words giant pole. What do you think is the meaning of the words giant pole? The poet called this because the earth is round like a pole. The earth is round like the pole. It's very clear we are one word after all. It's very clear we are one word after all. Though we may live in different parts of the world, we are similar and we all belong to one word. Talk about the poem. Please my students, look at this picture and tell me what is the meaning of this picture. This picture we have a girl and a boy, and they are coming from different countries. They are coming from different countries, but both are flying kites in the sky. But both are flying kites in the sky. After we explain the poem one word, let's answer the questions. Before that, please my students, try to answer these questions alone by reading the poem silent reading, and then you have to check your answers with me. Let's go to number 1. Number the countries in the order in which they appear in the poem. We have to order these countries how they appear in the poem. Appear يظهر. Appear يظهر. What do you think is the first country that appear in the poem? Number 1 is Canada. Number 1 is Canada. Number 2 is Spain. Number 2 is Spain. Number 3, Norway. Number 3, Norway. Number 4, Peru. Number 4 is Peru. Number 5, US. And the last one is Chad. So here we have the correct order for the countries. Number 1, Canada. Number 2, Spain. Number 3, Norway. Number 5, the US. Option P. Fill in the blanks with the correct words from the poem. Here we have to complete these sentences using words from the poem. Let's try. Rides bikes in Canadian lanes. Rides bikes in Canadian lanes. Let's go back to the poem. Rides bikes in Canadian lane. Canadian lane. Yes. So the correct answer is here. So this is the correct answer. Number 2. Like looking at animal. Like looking at animals. Who like looking at animals? Let's go back to the poem. Like looking at the animals. Like looking at the animals. Yes, here we have Liv and Ramon. Liv and Ramon they like the animals. So live, live and Raman. Live and Raman. Okay. Number 3. Was born in Egypt. Was born in Egypt. So his nationality or her nationality is Egyptian. Let's go back to the poem. Let's go back to the poem. Who is Egyptian? Who is Egyptian? Anwar. Excellent. Anwar is Egyptian. So the correct answer is Anwar. The correct answer is Anwar. The last one is a young poet. Is a young poet. The poet, the person who writes a poem. So who is the young poet in the poem? Let's go back to the poem. Here we have Jack and Carintha can write a poem, so they are poets. So the answer is Jack or Katrina. We can answer this, Jack or Katrina. So these are the answers for quiz. Each student have to write his own answer. Number 1, which child from the poem would you like to meet and why? Number 2, imagine you have a friend in another part of the world and he or she has come to visit you. What would you like to do with him or her? Please try to answer these 2 questions. Question D on page 10, the student's book. In this question, we have to check your understanding of identifying the main idea and finding similarities and differences. Number 1, what is the main idea of the poem? Take the correct answer. Which one is the suitable idea for the poem? Number 1, all children like the same things. Children live in different places. Children round the world are very different. Or the last one, children around the world are the same, even though they may have some differences. And this is the most suitable idea for the this is the most suitable idea for the poem, that the children around the world are the same, even though they may have some differences. I have a table. Okay, in this table we will talk about differences and similarity. Read the poem again and complete the table. Please, my students, take 5 minutes to answer it alone and then see our answers. Okay, Liv and Ramon, how do they are different? Liv, Ramon lives in Peru, but both yes, like to laugh with the giraffe at the zoo. This is number 1. What about Anwar and Kim? What about Anwar and Kim? Anwar is, you remember Anwar? Anwar is from Egypt. Yes, Anwar is from Egypt. What about Kim? Anwar is from Egypt. He is Egyptian. What about Kim? He is, or she is, Japanese. She is Japanese. How they are the same? Both run beneath the sun and fly kites in the breeze. What about Jack and Carintha? Jack is from the US. Carintha is from Chad. How they are the same? They both can write a poem at night upon a writing pad. So These are the answer for the table. We talked about the differences and similarities. For number 3, how are children around the world the same as and different from each other? Give 2 examples. For example, they go to school but learn in different languages. So again, my students, you have to write your own answer.